Hey guys, this is Camp from the Alpha Zone. We're going to go ahead and do a quick look for you guys at the new Need for Speed. Start off here in the garage, kind of go over, you're going to spend a lot of time in here, so go over some of the features and stuff that you pick up. So right off the bat, I mean graphically the cars look amazing. You got some basic engine customization, which is pretty cool, pretty straightforward stuff. When you really get into stuff that's really adjustable, really tweaking is your handling. You can really adjust the car pretty much to handle how you want within the confines of the game. I like the drifting side a little better personally. The grip stuff feels a little wonky. We'll get into that a little later about the controls. But the visual customization is one of the things that it's both a hit and a miss, kind of strangely. Right now this car has a body kit. And I really like that I can change my track width and my toe angle, and that's how I get those tires sitting so cleanly in that body kit. It doesn't just pop out that way. You will notice there's a lot of yellow dots. That's things that I can't use with my body kit. However, where you see this no parts available, that actually means there's nothing I can do to that. That's kind of disappointing when this is one of the mainline cars in the game. The Subaru BRZ just can't customize the headlights. And not that I'm looking for the game to be super realistic, but it is kind of, not in any way realistic. You do have some paint and some vinyl wrap options. Real kind of basic stuff. We're going to ignore this guy's phone call because he's obnoxious. I guess kind of getting into that too. The characters and some of the full motion video stuff, a lot of people have really dinged it. And that's absolutely accurate. So see here, by the way, while I'm showing you, it's a four-person garage or four-car garage in addition to your main car. So we'll go out in the streets, start driving around, ignore some more phone calls from these terrible characters. I really want to get out here and show you guys kind of what the environment looks like. The environment is impressive. The lighting, the textures, the reflections, the sounds. I mean, everything about kind of the basic way the game moves and looks and sounds visually is really impressive. I mean, really impressive. The sense of speed is awesome. As you can see, the lighting effects are pretty awesome. The environments are destructible. The people calling you are fucking annoying. Oh, we got some cops going by. Let's see here if I don't know if they're gonna chase me. It doesn't look like they are. The one nice thing is the cops are kind of constrained by something I want to delve into a little deeper, which is the funky controls. The way this controls is a little odd. It's very arcadey, and I don't normally have an objection to that per se. I generally prefer more simulation feeling controls, but it's kind of arbitrary in the way the slip and the grip feels. Like I said before, the full grip settings are just really annoying. Not at all a fan of how that feels. The drift settings, however, I'd say about 80% of the time do the right thing. The other 20% of the time they do kind of odd stuff. It'll break and slip when it's not supposed to, or grip when it's not supposed to. It's very inconsistent, the feel of it. Is just something that to me is really kind of a glaring weakness in a genre of games where the controls need to be tight. I will personally take the controls of Drive Club over this any day, which if you've listened to the podcast, is a racing game that I personally feel is pretty tops right now for the PlayStation. But overall, I would say that the open world aspect of it is interesting. It's neat. As you can see from kind of driving around here, it doesn't really feel lived in. It's pretty sparse. You notice the gentleman we passed there had or lady, depending on how you feel about it, had a gamer tag over them. Um, that was actually another player, so it is an always online game. Um, that's not something that normally bothers me, but I like to see a reason for it, and I'm just not sure after playing this game what the reason is. I find more often than not, other people coming into my events and stuff are really more of a problem than they are a help. Um, and they really kind of muck things up more than they create any type of positive anything, really. Um, Speaking on the open world, we'll pull over here and I'll pop up the map for you. So the size of the map is it's decent. I'm not going to say it's not Witcher big, you know, not that it needs to be. You've also got, you know, collecting rep. So on the side there you can see kind of where I'm at in these missions. You've got speed, crew, style, build, and outlaw. The the layouts of the streets feel pretty realistic. You don't get the stuff that feels like it's specifically a video game, although on some of the roads, especially some of the drift tracks, and you'll see sort of at the outer edges of the map, north and south, that there's some windy roads that are just, you know, literally just there to be drift tracks. They feel a little too narrow maybe for the cars, and I'm running a fairly small car. But overall, the feel of them is very realistic. Obviously, visually, they look incredible. You never really get the feeling like, you know, the streets were designed by a video game designer. There are definitely some turns and some stuff in these tracks that feels like a person sort of made an on-the-spot decision to put a turn there. You know, as if you were sort of racing with some people and trying to lose someone off of your tail, basically. The events as you beat them sort of become available and open to you, and you can go back and revisit those anytime you want. Sometimes they come up as daily challenges. Pull up the rep meter here, and you guys can see kind of how the rep stacks up. And I'm bringing this up because it points something out. The green there is your speed rep, and the red there is your outlaw rep. So outlaw is basically smashing stuff and running from the cops. The nature of the game is that it tends to force you into having more speed and more outlaw reps. So if you're into the building side or the drift side, which would be, you know, the style, you know, or even the crew side, it just seems like that type of rep is a lot harder to get. And now, granted, I haven't completed the game, at least the story yet. I'm still not 100% sure if I will, to be completely honest. But apparently the whole goal is to meet one of these icons from the auto racing world, which I think is a neat concept. And I liked when Dirt, you know, implemented some of these more famous racer guys and stuff into it. And I thought that was a really cool concept. And you know, I don't want to give the impression that I think the acting and the cutscenes, which are just laughably bad, it doesn't ruin my enjoyment of the career itself. I like the career events. I like the career mode. In fact, beyond that, I'm not sure what I would do in this game. I do think a misstep is one aspect of Underground, which obviously this draws very heavily from, is the drag racing. I think not putting the drag racing in here was a complete misstep. That's one thing that Underground did so successfully. It made that a really fun kind of almost quick time / mini game. A lot of people really, you know, enjoyed that. But I mean, you know, if you've got a lot of love for the Underground series, if you're somebody that enjoyed that, it's you know, it's definitely going to scratch a little of that itch for you. But I mean, you know, if we're really going to get down to the brass tacks of how I feel about the game, honestly, it's a little underwhelming. It feels like a good starting point. It feels like the first game in the series. Which, if that's the case, then, you know, I'm actually pretty amped to see what they do on the next game. I'll probably buy in for the next game. Luckily, my buy-in's pretty low on this one. I wouldn't recommend it to somebody at a $60 price tag. For myself personally, I got it as part of the Target sale. So it's buy two, get one free. This was my get one free. Sorry, I'm driving like shit here trying to figure out what to tell you guys. The reality is, though, is that there's some good bones here, but just a lot of the execution is just weak. Um, if you get an opportunity to pick it up for cheap, if you got GameFly, if you got a red box that you can bag it from, I encourage you, if you're a fan of Underground, to check it out and see what you think. It's not without merit. It's not without enjoyment. I've certainly enjoyed my time with it, but you know, in the same vein, I'm pretty honest about what the problems are with the game, and it is, you know, disappointing. I'm not going to say it's anything but it's disappointing. And part of what makes it disappointing is the stuff that they do well, they do so well, you know. And then the stuff that they don't do well is just bad, you know. At the end of the day, though, I think it's you know, I would probably put it in the 5 or the 6 range if I was going to rate it on a 1 to 10 score. It's just not something that I feel like is really realizing its potential, which is unfortunate because it concerns me that this may be a situation where, you know, we don't ever see a sequel, and that would be really a waste, I feel like, because I definitely think there's some good opportunities here, but there needs to be, you know, some feedback and some stuff implemented, I think, from the other Underground games that they're just missed opportunities. I mean, every car in this game should be customizable to some degree, you know. I think there should be a little more variance in the events, and I think bringing back drag racing would help that. And if you're going to have it always online, which I question whether they should or not, honestly, I would rather see them focus that energy on creating some NPCs and sort of a vivid world, a la, you know, the older Underground series, or, you know, I mean, kind of like what we saw done in Grand Theft Auto. A very alive feeling world, populated full of NPCs, basically. I would much prefer that. But as it stands right now, like I said, it's a bit of a disappointment. But that's really all I kind of have to say about it. So until next time,